The Bald and the Beautiful, Prince Harry, Prince William, Diana's facial bone structure, and the forehead of Agassi. Filius Regi, The Fall of Prince Harry, a Tragedy in Spare Parts. Excerpt from chapter Hubris by Spare. The relationship between the two brothers has long been an object of fascination and curiosity. For years, it was believed that Diana's two sons had a very close, loving, and supportive relationship. But in Spare, Harry tells another story. Harry's crystallization of his dynamic with William is one of the memoir's most revealing lines. My beloved brother, my arch nemesis, how had that happened? The paradox is deliberate. William is depicted by his own brother as both object of love and object of resentment, both a mirror. In some ways he was my mirror, in some ways he was my opposite, and a rival. It was also obvious he cared less about finding his own purpose or passion than about winning his lifelong competition with me. My mirror. Harry doesn't see William as other, but as a version of himself that has been elevated. The tension's not between Harry and William, self and sibling, but between self and idealized self. Through the prism of the mirror metaphor, William loses his personhood and autonomy. He becomes another Harry, one that has more hair, more room space, more sausages, and crucially, their mother's bone structure. He is the version of Harry that Harry has always wanted to be. The mirror also makes William Harry's nemesis. Harry's resentment of his brother that deeply stems from a deep-rooted jealousy of the one person who was the closest to their mother. Harry's glee as he relays William's famous resemblance to Mummy now fading is shocking. Exacerbates the differences between the two brothers and inscribes their dynamic in an Aristotelian frame. When William becomes nemesis, Harry becomes a tragic hero. This is no longer a brotherly quarrel between two boys who once walked in their mother's funeral procession. It is a mythic destiny. Every anecdote from their childhood, every tiny inequality, from William's larger half of the room at Balmoral to William receiving an extra serving of sausage at breakfast, becomes a symbol of institutional hierarchy, and yet another proof of Harry's nullity, his undeserving of space to exist or to enjoy the smallest pleasures of life. Small material details are often used in oral traditions as symbols of cosmic orders. Harry, consciously or through the magic touch of his ghostwriter, reproduces that structure. Sausage distribution becomes dynastic law enacted at breakfast. There is no doubt that Harry's closeness with Diana has exacerbated Harry's jealousy. Diana herself had described William as her soulmate. Never does Harry explicitly reference this moment when William, the natural heir to the throne, became heir by maternal election, but his knowledge of it haunts this narrative. Diana's soulmate mistakes leads to one of the most cutting passages of the memoir. I looked at Willie, really looked at him, maybe for the first time since we were boys. I took it all in. His familiar scowl, which had always been his default in dealings with me, his alarming baldness, more advanced than my own, his famous resemblance to Mummy, which was fading with time, with age. This excerpt betrays the root of Harry's resentment of his brother. The Spare didn't resent the heir only for being the heir, but for his resemblance to their mother. It is a fact that William resembles Diana in a way that's more than superficial. He's inherited her facial bone structure, her gaze, her long upper lip, her smile, her long neck and broad shoulders, and her tall, lean flame. Harry, to his apparent dismay, was cut from the Mountbatten Windsor cloth. In this context, Harry's observations should be read as a tally of emotional depth being collected. He looks at his brother, his only brother, and doesn't see a sibling. He sees a dying mirror. Harry sees this as a win. Finally, William is losing one of his strongest bonds to their mother. It is not a resemblance that is fading. It is Diana who is fading from William. William was Diana's favorite. William looked like her. William carries her legacy. And when Harry sees that physical resemblance fading, he feels vindicated. Many have pointed out that William still looks like his mother. He does. Whether Harry truly believes that William was looking less and less like Diana with time, or had convinced himself of it, the ugliness of the felt vindication remains. The boldness dig is another show of immaturity. Harry uses words such as alarming and advanced, but he's practically screaming, "My horse is bigger than your horse." The grandeur of the vocabulary only serves to underline the triviality and pettiness of the observation. The irony of this remark is stark when one considers the book's cover design. It deliberately echoes the visual language of eight-time Grand Slam winner Andrea Agassi's memoir Open, written in collaboration with the same ghostwriter, J.R. Moringer. The adoption of Agassi's minimalist confrontational cover format can be seen as a strategic bid to elevate Harry's narrative into the same register of searing confession and cultural impact. Yet the imitation falters at the precise point where Agassi's cover achieves its power. Agassi's photograph is a close cropped portrait in which his boldness is starkly, almost defiantly on display, a visual complement to a book offering the reader an unfiltered account of identity stripped bare. By contrast, Harry's photograph is conspicuously cropped at the top, eliminating any views of his thinning hair. The visual strategy, excluding what Agassi foregrounded, undermines Spare's claim to radical honesty, and, taken in conjunction with Harry's comments about William's alarming baldness, underscores the younger prince's pettiness and hypocrisy. While Harry writes that William cared less about finding his purpose than about winning his lifelong competition with me, Spares comes across as the autobiography of a man narrating his entire existence as a competition with his brother, a competition he is morally winning. William didn't defend his girlfriend where Harry did defend his. William resorted to physical violence while Harry never did. William never broke free from the institution while Harry did. William exists in Spare only as an extension of Harry's drama, an unavoidable and narratively necessary nemesis. William is both the axis of grievance and the condition of Harry's self mythologizing. Without William, there is no nemesis. Without nemesis, there is no tragic hero. There is no tragedy to tell.